So I want to take you briefly from darkness into light. I'm going to start with the darkness of a moronic doctrine called Christian Zionism. It is a fraud, a monstrosity, a nonsense fit not for human beings but for beasts. It is an irrational, contradictory doctrine. It's like a round square or a four-sided triangle. It's a perversion, a mindless idiocy, a harmful one. A key figure in this doctrine was a man called John Nelson Darby, who lived a couple of centuries back. He was an Irish Anglican clergyman, but later on he became the Plymouth Brethren, a sect which rejects tradition, even reason. And so this man Darby joined this sect and ended up deceiving even people more ignorant and stupid than himself. He invoked one passage in the New Testament, the second letter of St. Paul to Timothy, and he claimed that on that passage, God had divided history into dispensations. And as a matter of fact, if you look at that passage, there is nothing to do with dispensations. But for this lunatic, for this John Darby, the final epoch, the final dispensation, was crowned by Christ's second coming, which is a perfect Orthodox Christian belief. But he combined it with the notion of a millennium. Now, this notion is utterly misleading. It rests again on a complete misinterpretation of the book of Revelation. St. Augustine long ago dismissed this fable of a millennium. And there is a fight between Christ and Satan, but the fight is spiritual and is fought by Christ and fought in the church every day. Anyway, Revelation says nothing at all about the Jewish people having to return to the land of Israel, as the Christian Zionists claim. So I'm happy to say that Christian Zionism is false. It's a heresy and a perversion of Christianity, incidentally. And here I want to make clear, I do respect Judaism, the integrity of Judaism, and I'm delighted of the rabbinical presence here. Many years ago I had the pleasure, the honor of sharing a platform with Rabbi Aaron Cohen on Iran TV, and I always thought what a wonderful man he is. He's always been in my memory. However, I'm stating the Christian position. And the Christian position set out by St. Paul in Galatians is that the church is the Israel of God. So if you want to read the letter to the Romans from chapters 9 to 11, you will find the perfect setting out of a Christian position. St. Paul was a zealous Jew. And he said, has God rejected his people? By no means. So Israel will be saved. And amen to that. Now, you know how one of the aims of this moronic doctrine of Christian Zionism is the rebuilding of the temple of Jerusalem. Now, again, destroyed by my ancestors, the Romans, because I was born in Rome, so I'm a Roman. Not a Roman Catholic, but a Roman Anglican. And they claim that to rebuild the temple would be necessary for the second coming of Christ. Now, again, Jesus Christ said, I am the new temple. And in the New Jerusalem, which is the final book of the Bible, the New Testament, the book of Revelation, there is no temple in the New Jerusalem. It is unnecessary because the blessed will be worshiping God face to face. There was a conference, Christian Zionist so-called conference in Jerusalem in 2001, where they urged Jews worldwide to continue to return to Israel, to the Holy Land, and to encourage Israel to resist terrorism and the sword of Islam. The sword of Islam. So you see where these people come from. And of course, they raised the old bogey of anti-Semitism, which is used as a stick with which to beat opponents. So I want to say Christian Zionism is wrong on 4 grounds. Justice, because it rides roughshod over the rights of native peoples, the Palestinians. Exegetically, because based on a faulty interpretation of the biblical text. It's owing to its imbalanced attitude towards Islam and Judaism, it endangers religious dialogue, which is so important for us today. And because of its extremism, Christian Zionism threatens peace in the Middle East. Stability. Jerusalem should be a bond, a common ground between the 3 universal faiths. Jerusalem should not be a bone of contention, strife, but a shared symbol of peace, tolerance, and friendship. So it is in that spirit that the Vatican, which after all represents a good chunk of Christianity, proposed after the Second World War, Jerusalem should be run by corpus separatum, as a corpus separatum, a separate body or unit. Because of the extraordinary importance of the holy places, Jerusalem should be under the jurisdiction of the United Nations, internationalized. So, and this resolution was passed. But of course, the Zionists rejected it. And we know all about President Trump, who disastrously blundered by moving the embassy to Jerusalem, and he will pay bitterly for that. So I've gone from darkness to a kind of light, but now I want to show the most glorious light. I want to talk to you briefly about an indomitable fighter for Palestine, a Christian archbishop. His name was Hilarion Capucci, and he was indeed Archbishop, Melkite Archbishop. Melkites are a particular Christian denomination in communion with the Catholic Church of Jerusalem. He was an indomitable fighter for Palestine. He was born in Aleppo, Syria. In August 1974, Monsignor Capucci was arrested by the Israelis on the charge of arms smuggling. The police claimed to have discovered in his car a large catch of guns, grenades, and other weapons, and explosives meant for Palestinian resistance. Terrible, isn't it? Well, Capucci said it is an Israeli plot, but and went on several hunger strikes. In prison, he was tortured. He was cruelly treated by the Israelis, and Palestinian fighters carried out several actions, public action, demanding his release. So it caused the episode caused great controversy because Capucci's ecclesiastical status. After 4 years of imprisonment, the Vatican managed to pressurize the Israelis to have him released. And the Israelis claimed, we will not have this man again in the Middle East. But after a short interlude, he turned up again in Damascus and in a gathering of PLO leaders. And Yasser Arafat, the great iconic symbol of Palestinian resistance, considered Capucci as a personal friend, as a fighter for Palestine, and Capucci in public wore keffiyeh, with special headdress, which symbolized, in a way, a Palestinian cause. And later on, Capucci also visited Tehran. And there are photographs show him next to Ayatollah Khomeini. Good egg, wasn't he? And in old age, he died last year, in his 80s. But old age did not diminish his righteous sense of commitment. He participated, visited Iraq when it was under siege, Baghdad under siege by the sanctions, obtained release from some hostages, and in 2010, at the age of 88, he embarked on the ship Navi Marmara, Turkish ship, which was trying to breach the Gaza blockade to bring relief to the people of Gaza, and he was arrested. You know, Navi Marmara was attacked by the Israelis. Many innocent people were killed. Capucci was arrested and was taken in prison to Israel, and he declared, "The cross is my defense," defiant. He never gave up hope for his battle's final victory. he would often take his leave from visitors saying, I wish we shall meet again in Jerusalem, Al-Quds, the capital of Free Palestine. Pope John Paul II lobbied Israelis so they could be allowed at least to see again his beloved Jerusalem before he died, but the Israeli turned it down. Anyways, Capucci said, the Zionists will not able to exclude me from the heavenly Jerusalem. God is the only authority to have jurisdiction there, not the Zionists. In 2013, Mahmoud Abbas, Palestinian leader, bestowed on Capucci the highest Palestine decoration. Even Hamas hailed him as a great Arab revolutionary and a stalwart friend and champion of Palestine. Hezbollah, the Shia Lebanese militant group, also offered condolences when Capucci died last year. He said, Hezbollah said, the Arab nation, Muslim nation, I should say, but remember what Roshan correctly pointed out, the universal cause, it's lost a great defender. And, of course, the Hassan Nasrallah also said that Capucci had always worked to liberate the holy places, obliterate the Zionist occupation, and unite all people supporting the Palestinian cause. So, I conclude here. I've taken it from darkness, from middle stage, the official Christian position, which is realistic, not ideal, but Jerusalem should be internationalized. It is not ideal, but it offers some kind of medium ground. And then like this great fighter, this hero of fighter for Palestine. Incidentally, at least 5 countries, Iraq, Egypt, Libya, Sudan, and Syria, have issued stamps in honor of Capuccis. But of course, the highest and eternal reward will be in heaven. So I conclude, all hail to the spirit of Hilarion Capucci, long live Jerusalem Al-Quds, long live Palestine, Al-Intisar, Il-Intifada.